Hello everybody, my name is Dratnos, and in today's video we're going to take a look at the Season 4 side of things, or the patch notes side of things here, coming with 10.2.6. So there's obviously this big Plunderstorm thing, Battle Royale mode, very cool. Video on that already out, and of course there will be a lot more content once we can actually play it. But that's not what this video is about. This video is going to be instead about the base game, the core dungeons, raids, Season 4 stuff, which don't start this week, but I think these balance changes are coming in this week. I'm actually not sure about all of that because some of them do affect current gameplay, but I think they do. I think these are going to be live with this reset as well, and then obviously the actual Season 4 stuff isn't going to be live until Season 4 comes out, which is in some amount of weeks, several weeks, I think was what they said. First of all, macros that use non-healer versions of Dispels will override the ability with the healer Dispel variant if the player's in healer spec. So if you macro, something and then it changes to a better Dispel, it'll use that better Dispel. Cool. And then they've updated the power of many of the set bonuses that are returning for Season 4 to match the increased power of the rest of the new gear in Season 4. This is something they said they were going to do, and these are basically the winners of these votes, unless they were already turbo OP, which most of them aren't at this point because the ones that were got nerfed to make it so you wouldn't keep them into the next season. These set bonuses are getting buffed across the board. So Blood DK, the Aberrus set bonus, is being doubled in the damage of Heart Strike and Blood Boil, and also the chance to proc Vamp Blood. The Frost set is going to increase the damage of Frostworm's Fury by 5% per stack instead of 4%. The effectiveness of Frostworm's Fury is increased to 30% from 25%, and Howling Blast damage is going to be increased to 20% from 10% as well. So buffs to those set bonuses. Balance Druids. So this is the set bonus that was one of the most controversial ones in the vote, because there was this debate. The Vault of the Incarnate's Balance set bonus was very powerful. It gave you a free Star Surge or Starfall after you entered Eclipse, but they nerfed that coming out of Vault of the Incarnate so that, first of all, so that you wouldn't keep it, and I think they also nerfed it mid-late Vault of the Incarnates as well. It was a very, very powerful one. So they're buffing it back up. The 2 set here is getting a buff of 50% more damage increase on the Wrath and Starfire damage amp. The 4 set is also being buffed, but it's not being fully reverted to the pre-nerf version. It says when you enter Eclipse, your next Star Surge or Starfall costs 15 less Astral Power, was 5 less, so it's not going to be free. But it is going to deal 40% increased damage, so that is a buff on that side of things. But still, this is not going to be the full power Vault of the Incarnate set bonus coming back for balance. Evoker, Landslide, and Sleepwalk are getting some mana cost reductions, which is primarily only relevant for Preservation. Preservation now is going to spend less mana to use its utility, which seems good. That seems totally fair by me. Devastation is also getting quite large buffs here to the Aberrus set bonus, which was the winner of its vote. Disintegrate and Pyre are going to pierce enemies. The shards are going to do 18% of the damage that Disintegrate and Pyre did, rather than 12%, so 50% more damage there. And also 50% more damage on the 4 set, increasing Empower spells damage. Preservation, where Vault of the Incarnate set bonus won. The healing of reversion is going to be increased by 50% instead of 35%, and it's for 8 seconds instead of 6 seconds as well. And Living in Flame damage and healing is being increased by 50% from 20% as well. Reversion crit heals now extend reversion by 2 seconds regardless of haste, which I think is nice because I think there was previously haste anti-synergy there. But that's cool. And also, this is a buff that doesn't apply to the set bonus as well. This is just base buffs to Prez. And Emerald Communion will now give an error message and fail to cast if used while in Diamond Ice, which I believe is a PvP thing. I think that's when their Ice Trap, like Ice blocks you when a Hunter does that. Okay, Serve Hunter, the 2 set the set bonus that won for them was Vault of the Incarnates, which was another set bonus that was nerfed after the fact. And they're putting 50% more power into the 2 set, and they are putting a slight increase in damage here, 25% more damage on the 4 set compared to the old numbers. No functionality changes here, just number go up. Mage, the Fire 2 set, is getting a slight buff here to 6% damage taken instead of 5%, and it's going to last longer as well, which is nice. And there's an overlay now for Fury of the Sun King. Cool. Monk, Mistweaver. So this is also just new stuff that does not rely on the set bonus or anything. New talent, Dance of Chi-Ji. Your spells and abilities have a chance to make your next spinning crane kick deal an additional 300% damage. Sweet. This is obviously a Windwalker thing already, but this seems like a cool button to give Mistweaver. And there's another new talent, Peer into Peace. 5% of your overhealing done onto targets with Soothing Mist is spread to 3 nearby injured allies. Soothing Mist now follows the target of your Enveloping Mist or Vivify, and its channel time is increased by 4 seconds. This is a cool option here. So you could kind of just load up your tank with, Enveloping Mist and Soothing Mist, and then, just blast healing into them, right? And it's Spam Vivifies on them, and even if you're overhealing them, it's going to heal nearby targets. It's going to splash on nearby targets. That's kind of cool. I don't think you're going to want to actively do this with like Vivify spamming onto a topped target, but your Enveloping Mist pretty often does overheal after it does the important healing on a target, so that is pretty neat. Resplendent Mist now causes Gusts of Mist to have a 30% chance to deal 75 or 150% more healing, so basically 50% more power on Resplendent Mist here. And Peaceful Mending is now a 1-point talent and increases the healing allies receive from Enveloping Mist and Renewing Mist by 40% while Soothing Mist is active. So if you put 2 points into this, you're going to be getting a little bit less value out of 1 point, but you're getting a whole talent point out of this deal. This is, I think, almost certainly a buff. Windwalker. The Vault set bonus 1 for Windwalker as well, and they are buffing the numbers on the damage for it. I'm not going to go through all of the set bonuses, I guess, from here on and say... I'll say if there's something other than just a number go up for these things. Even duration. Neither of these change duration. Holy Paladin, 2 set wins for them from Aber, or the Aber set bonus wins for them as well. And this one is also getting number go up. There's a dev note here as well that says Holy Prism's healing was increased baseline in Guardians of the Dream. So this bonus is being decreased. Oh, this is actually a nerf. Yeah, there's a nerf to the Holy Prism side. This bonus being decreased with that in mind, this will still be an overall gain in power compared to Embers of Neltharion. And the Light's Hammer healing is just going up. So there was a set bonus that either buffed Holy Prism or Light's Hammer, and I guess this makes sense. It's I don't know how much it's going. It's an overall gain compared to Embers and Neltharion. I would imagine a modest amount, probably. Prop Pally, the Vault of the Incarnate set bonus 1 for Prop Pally, which is a very simple, boring set bonus, but at least it doesn't, rely on Consecration, or the Heartfire was always kind of weird, and now there's just more number on it. Priest. There's a lot of notes for a Priest here. Leap of Faith no longer interrupts spellcasts from the ally it was used on. RIP, and the end of an era of trolling from priests to their unsuspecting party members. Imperial Blaze has been redesigned. Chastise now causes your next 2 casts of Holy Fire to be instant, no mana, no cooldown, and Refreshing Holy Fire on a target now extends its duration by 7 seconds as well. Pontifex has been redesigned, which caused a bunch of heals to increase the healing done by your next Holy Word, stacking up to 5 times by 6%. Lightwell has been redesigned. Each second, the Lightwell will attempt to heal nearby party or raid members within 40 yards that's less than 50% health, and apply a Renew to them for 6 seconds. Lightwell lasts for 2 minutes or until it heals 15 times, and its cooldown gets reduced when you cast Serenity or Sanctify. Cool effect. Kind of weird that it only targets people below 50% health, but given that it lasts for 2 minutes, it's probably going to hit, It's probably going to get to use all 15 of its charges in that time frame, because 15 charges, I assume that this will get depleted much more quickly than 2 minutes a lot of the time, but even if it doesn't, it should probably get full use. I'm not sure, though. All healing done reduced by 7%, so just a flat throughput nerf here to Holy. Maybe some of this is coming back through the talents, but Holy did have a lot of throughput. That was never one of its problems, so this is probably fine. Holy Fire is going to cost less mana. Chastise is going to cost less mana. Resonant Words now causes Holy Words to increase the healing done of your next, small heal or whatever, or prayer healing or circle healing by 40% for 30 seconds if you put 2 talent points in there. Divine Word now increases the effectiveness of your next Holy Word by 30%, was 50%, so there's another nerf here. Chastise with Divine Word active now increases damage dealt by 20% and refunds 15 seconds from the cooldown instead of the previous effect. What was the previous effect? Was that the stun? I don't remember. Or does it always stun? Sanctify with Divine Word active now blesses the target area and heals 5 targets, was 6, and the healing done has gone up. Great. Anytime there's something that heals 6 people, Making it heal 5 instead is going to feel a lot better because in M plus there's 5 people. In Raid there's 20 people, so going from 6 to 5 not a big deal, right? But for M plus, concentrating that healing into 5 targets instead of 6 and increasing that number, that is going to make Holy Priest a lot more, a lot better group healing, right? I mean, one of their biggest group heals has just gotten buffed by 25% for M plus. Serenity no longer increases the crit chance of flash heal, and renew. Okay, so there's a nerf there to the Serenity Divine Word bonus. Healing Chorus now increases the healing of Circle of Healing by 5%, stacking up to 20 times, was 2% stacking up to 50 times, so this is going to stack faster, and it's going to stack to the same number, but yeah, it's going to stack much faster. Prayerful Litany now heals for 100% more, so the most injured ally it affects was 30%. Harmonious Apparatus has been renamed to Voice of Harmony. Its icon's been changed. Causes Holy Nova to reduce the cooldown of Chastise in addition to Holy Fire. Gales of Song is 1 point with the values of the previous 2-point version, so this is a buff. Horizon now has a connection to Pontifex. Divine Service now has a connection to Say Your Prayers. Empowered Renew and Rapid Recovery has been removed, and the final 3 rows of the tree have been reorganized. We'll have to see how this all works out. Certainly there are some nerfs in here, but there's also some buffs. I'm not a Holy Priest scientist, so you'll have to go check out one of them to get more takes on this. But my take is, damn, I can't grieve people for the leap of faith anymore. Shadow's set bonus here is getting number go up on its Aberrus set bonus. Shadow's Aberrus set bonus was already quite a powerful set bonus as well. That was one of the ones where the base numbers on it were already quite good. So Shadow starting to look awful strong here. Resto Shaman, number go up on the Vault of the Incarnate set bonuses. Destro Warlock, number go up on the Vault of the Incarnate set bonuses. Destro Warlock, sort of like Prop Pally, another spec where the Vault set bonus is very boring, but at least it isn't actively making you, care more about buttons that you hate, which the Season 2 set bonus certainly did. Season 3 set bonus, some people are starting to warm up to it. I think those people are mostly warming up to it because Destro is kind of really good right now, rather than the fact that the set bonus is really fun. But for a lot of people, those two things are kind of the same thing. But I still think the Season 2 or the Season 1 set bonus will be more fun than the Season 3 one, given an equal power level, which is, of course, maybe the variable that people are concerned about. Arms Warrior, number go up on the Vault set bonus. Fury Warrior, number go up on the set bonuses here, including a crit chance increase, which is also rotational value in addition to, damage going up. So those are the set bonus and class changes. We've got a lot of other stuff, though, to cover in this video, so stay tuned. We've got Dungeons and Raids tuning. That's right. Old War Time Walking. Fixed a bunch of bugs with Old War Time Walking. Really good. If a player in a follower dungeon can cast Bloodlust, the followers will no longer try to cast their version when they think it's appropriate, and instead leave the decision of when to cast up to the player. This is nice, although I suspect there will be a lot of follower dungeons where the ability just doesn't get cast now, which is kind of funny. I think what they should do is they should look at this and they should be like, all right, if the player doesn't lust in the first 10 minutes of the dungeon, then the followers will start lusting again. But if the player does lust in the first 10 seconds, we'll leave it up to the player. I think that would be the best way to handle this, actually. Items. Raid loot from Vault of the Incarnates and Aberrus have received several adjustments to align with the changes made in Emirdasil. Class tokens will drop at a rate of 1 to 3 relative to non-token items, which was a nerf made in Emirdasil that it never really was a nerf because the Catalyst came out earlier, so tier was easier to acquire than ever before. And it's, of course, nice to have the actual items you want from bosses dropping at a higher ratio. Some items that really are going to benefit from this are stuff like Ominous Chromatic Essence, which was griefed by the fact that it was off of a tier boss that made it really hard to find that item, right? Also, very rare items have a separate chance to drop in addition to a boss's standard quality of loot. This was another just general change made in Emirdasil that I think is probably better. It does sort of increase the variance a little bit further. Getting a very rare item to drop is now even better than it was in Vault and in Aberrus because you're getting an extra item, not just a better item. And it's also true that the very rares in these raids were, on average, I would say more powerful than the Emirdasil ones. Stuff like Whispering Incarnate Icon, really powerful item that exists there. So that is, I don't think that's a big deal though. I don't know. It's also season 4, right? So who cares? As we look further ahead to Season 4, we're aiming to level the playing field for certain over- and underperforming raid trinkets. Further tuning can be expected before or shortly after the start of the season. Great. Chill Globe's Mana Restore effect has been reduced by 70%. Whew, good lord. They really don't want that to be like a dominating choice. Whispering Incarnate Icon's Infusion effect granted to allies reduced by 45%. So Icon is still going to be good, but there's a little bit... And they've targeted the ally side of things, which means that you have less incentive to make other people wear it if you want to wear it as well. Obviously, it's still going to be best for you if one of each spec is wearing it, or one of each role is wearing it, but it's no longer going to be like... It's going to be much less of a big deal on that. Ward of Faceless Ire's cooldown has been reduced to 1 minute. Its absorb has been reduced by 35%, and its damage has been reduced by 50%. So this is a buff. You can use it now twice as often. And it was a pretty big shield. Rarely did you need the whole shield. The shield being a little bit smaller is not that big of a deal. The damage being reduced is also not that big of a deal. You weren't using Ward of Faceless Ire for damage. And the damage is actually the same, right? Because it's half the damage, but twice as often. So the damage is the same. There's more total absorbs, and you're getting smaller absorbs more often, which I think is going to be generally better. So I think this item is going to be pretty compelling. It was already... niche, useful for M+ situations last season, and last season was a lot less about surviving one-shots than in this season is, which we'll see what next season looks like, what Season 4 looks like, but depending on player power level, there's a decent chance that, 5 copies of Ward of Faceless Ire might well be the meta for high key pushing so that you can, live certain boss slams that happen every minute or whatever. All remaining stacks of Enduring Dreadplate's Health Seal plating that are not consumed by taking damage now rupture to release Rays of Anguish upon expiration. This was the Kazara tank trinket that never really saw much play, and now they're raising the floor so that if you don't proc the stacks, you at least still get the damage, which is nice. Ominous Chromatic Essence's Shared Alignment secondary stat reduced by 5%. So a little nerf there. Again, Ominous Chromatic Essence, Whispering Incarnate Icon, a little bit less of the group synergies on those. Still pretty likely to be very good choices. Stat 6 are often just so compelling, and I doubt that these numbers are enough to make them not at least one of them. I suspect it'll be Essence, actually, but I haven't looked at what the relative numbers are at the same eye level between these two trinkets. That's just going to be a question of which one is more number, right? Blossom and Myrtil effects increased by 10%. That trinket was already good, and they're buffing it. For Axe Rageheart, Absorb is going up, but the damage is being reduced on the Lash by 5% and the passive by 20%. This is a trinket. I think this is a nerf because, again, the Absorb is really good, but rarely do you need the whole thing. So increasing the Absorb, I mean, it's nice, right? Like, you are going to get more value sometimes. Sometimes your Absorb does get entirely eaten up. But the fact that it's going to do less damage is probably more of a nerf than the Absorb going up is a buff. The following dungeon trinkets have been significantly reworked. Tome of Unstable Power, Umbral Skull's Fractured Heart, Globe of Jagged Ice, Water's Beating Heart, Granite's Enduring Scale, and Inexorable Resonator. Don't know how, but I love seeing that. I love seeing underused trinkets be reworked. The following dungeon trinkets have been adjusted. Kairaka's Searing Embers has been double the proc rate, half the damage, and slightly less than half the healing. So it's going to proc more often. It's going to be more consistent, right? It's going to proc more often for less value, and actually more total value because the healing is only being nerfed by 40% instead of 50%. So a buff in quality of life and in just raw power to this as well, and they fixed an issue that could cause inconsistent proc behavior. Miniature Singing Stone's shield effect has been increased by 3%, and the mutated Mag Mammoth scale changed the trigger now scales with haste and damage reduced by 13%. This is the buff. Proc chance scaling with haste this late in the expansion, unless you were wearing this on like a Windwalker, which actually I think was one of the specs that was most likely to wear this thing. Not on purpose, but just because like it was one of the, if you happen to get like only a couple of bad trinket choices, I think that this was kind of often least bad for them compared to others. But a lot of that was because it didn't scale with haste. Now that it does, it may be a little bit more compelling for specs like Havoc Demon Hunter that often like those sorts of effects. I suspect that these sorts of like subpar trinkets, unless some of those reworked ones are really powerful, it's going to be tough to beat, Ominous Chromatic Essence, Fire Act Trinket, Manic Grief Torch, right? Like these Dathia Trinket as well, Storm Eater's Boon, right? Like those sorts of effects, I think are going to be pretty tough to beat, even by making Magmammoth scale with haste, especially because they're nerfing the base damage as well. I think that it's going to be better than it was that season, but I don't think it's going to hold up compared to the very powerful options that you're going to have. New glyphs have been added to transform the appearance of the recently updated Covenant abilities back to their old Covenant visuals. They can be purchased from the Covenant Quartermasters. Awesome. That is that's really cool. I love getting that agency back because, some of them, like Jade Fire Stomp, for instance, I think Phalanx Stomp looked a lot better personally. I know there are people who prefer the Jade Fire Stomp, but I like Phalanx Stomp. I like the old Shifting Power. I kind of like the new Shifting Power. It's definitely been growing on me. I definitely preferred the old Spear Bastion. So, yeah, that's awesome. That's I'm really glad that they're giving us these options, and something that WoW has often not done is give you the ability to have two very different looks for the same spell, right? Like a lot of the old glyphs are like, oh, hey, there's a little bit of lightning when you thunderclap or whatever. And it's like, it doesn't really look that different. This is going to mean that you actually have abilities that can look very different if you want them to. And I hope that they carry that forward. I hope that they let you do that with more abilities. Green Fire for Warlocks, I think, is iconic, really cool. And I think that there's a lot of room in WoW for spell customization on the visuals that this is, I think, an obvious first step towards that, but I think it would be really cool if they went further. Wrist appearances are now shown on the right wrist, was the left wrist. This allows more one-sided appearances, such as the Gothic Corsage, to be visible in the collection pane. Okay, that is not something that I have run into being a problem, so, but probably a good change. I don't see how that would be bad. Pet battles. Briarhorn Hatchling has been struck by the Curse of Flesh and is now properly Beast type, was Mechanical type. Cool. Battleground Blitz Brawl. They've been happy to see the excitement around Battleground Blitz after its launch, and we're making some changes. We're not happy with the low frequency of Capture the Flag maps due to the restriction of having the maps be only available with tanks. We're lifting that restriction and introducing a new buff, Empowered Carrier, that will be applied to non-tank specs if they pick up the flag in Warsong Gulch or Twin Peaks. Tanks will still be only matched up against other tanks, and this buff will only be applied if there are not any tanks in the match. Additionally, we've been overall happy around having an increased mount speed in Battleground Blitz, but the 150% mount speed is too fast for the gameplay and character control experiences, so they're adjusting the amount of increase on all maps, having it slightly larger on the larger maps, Arathi Basin and Deepwind Gorge. Neat. No fall damage at the start of Eye of the Storm in there. Empowered Carrier is a 10% max HP, 30% movement speed buff you get when you're carrying the flag, and it provides 25% DR for 4 seconds when stunned. If you're a non-tank spec that picks up the flag in Warsong Gulch or Twin Peaks. Cool. Swift Pursuit's had some adjustments as well. The mount speed is being nerfed by a lot to 75% from 150 in other maps and 100% from 150 in Basin and Gorge. And Prez Evoker is going to heal, Rewind's going to heal for more in PvP. Normally I don't look through PvP notes, but I actually like the idea of looking at stuff like how they're changing things like Battleground Blitz, even though I don't really do too much of this kind of content myself. I think it's interesting whenever there's like dev notes to read what they say. So, neato. All right, that's the end of the content notes section of this video. But wait, there's more. We've had several Wowhead posts come out of more stuff about Season 4, Datamined stuff, that kind of thing. So I'm going to include those in this video, and then there will be more that come out after this video, and I'll make another video at some point that will capture all the stuff that happens and that gets released after this video comes out. So up first, we have Dinars. Dinars are returning in Season 4. That was already confirmed by Ian. There will absolutely be a Dinar-type system in Season 4. We don't think it was too generous or anything. It worked great. He liked it for Season 4, but broadly, they didn't want to do it in other seasons, but they still liked how it worked in Season 4. Now, there is a total cap and a weekly cap added to this currency. The total cap being 1, the weekly cap being 0. It's unclear if this actually means anything, right? The string also indicates a cap of 1 as opposed to 3. It's unclear if that is like that. I wouldn't read too much into this number. There have been a lot of numbers that in the data mining files have existed at various times, and I doubt that you would just be like, yep, you're getting 1 dinar all season. The fact that, in fact, it has a total and a weekly cap value in the data mining as well. Maybe it'll be the kind of thing where there is an increasing weekly cap to it rather than a 3 per season thing, which I thought that was a bit of a weakness of the dinar system in season 4. Was if you were trying to play like a multi-specking character, there were like 8 things you wanted to buy with your dinars, and you could only buy 3 of them, and that did kind of suck. So we'll see what they decide to do with this. Hopefully, it's not just one. That would definitely suck. I wouldn't be freaking too much out about this string in the data mining though. We have some cosmetics data mined as well. This is the Infinite Armorodon, which is the Season 4 Keystone Master mount. It's the same, skeleton as the previous KSM mounts this expansion, but I think it is a pretty cool recolor of it. I think it's my favorite recolor of it so far, so cool. There is data mining of the Faded rewards, which is now being called Awakened, which I wonder if they'll bring back the Awakened affix. That was a sweet affix. That was really cool. But that's what Faded is going to be called this season. And there is a mount. Well, I guess it's not sure. It's referred to in game as Awakened from the data mine stuff so far. We'll see if that actually ends up holding, but I assume that will. Yeah, Awakened raids. I'm pretty sure that this is. I mean, it's not too late for them to change the name, but I think it's a good name. I think it's cool. So there's a mount. This mount is if you complete all the raids on normal Faded, normal Awakened. Then if you do it on Heroic, you get the Awakened Hero. And if you do it on Mythic, you get portals to all 3 of the raids, which, neat little reward for that. I kind of wish you'd get the portal when you completed each raid on Mythic, rather than having to complete all 3 to get all 3 portals, but that's a minor nitpick. All right, Razageth, we're doing this one more time. We got to fight one more time, I fear. We have some PvP mounts being data mined as well. The Vicious Dream Talon here. The Alliance Vicious Dream Talon, and the Draconic Gladiators Drake, which is kind of a funny name, right? Draconic Gladiator, or Draconic Gladiators Drake. But yeah, there it is. We have a new mount being added for Back from the Beyond, which was the Veil Strider achievement back in Shadowlands. Now, it looks like that achievement is Legacy, meaning that Veil Strider is still not available. You can't get the Veil Strider title. But if you do the achievements that make up that got you Veil Strider, you can now earn Zoval's Soul Eater, which is basically one of these PvP, glad mounts with the less armor on it, but still very cool looking mount. You can earn that for doing what was Veil Strider. And if you already did Veil Strider back in the day, you're going to be able to get this for free, I assume. They'll just be added to your account. So, pretty cool. I did Veil Strider, so I'm happy about that. If you didn't do Veil Strider, it's a bit of a slog. A lot of stuff you have to do. The Abomination Factory is a pretty long grind, so, may or may not be interested in doing that for this mount, but pretty cool. By the way, one of the things that there's not a wowhead post for, but there was, I saw some stuff on Twitter about it. It looks like there's going to be a Dragonflight version of Veil Strider, and it's going to award Tyvan, the dog from like Onaran Plains or whatever, as a mount available for completing that, the Shadowlands Back from the or the Dragonflight Back from Beyond achievement. So keep a lookout for that. They also changed a bunch of the Primal Storms achievements, which makes me think that those are going to be part of that achievement. So get ready to log in and wait until there's a sandstorm in Taldrassus so you can do your achievement. That's going to be fun. Okay, the Dragonflight Season 4 dungeon rotation has also been confirmed on patch 10.2.6. So it's not like announced by Blizzard, but this is pretty much a confirm here that the Season 4 is going to be the 8 Dragonflight dungeons from Seasons 1 and 2. So Dawn of the Infinite out, but all the other Dragonflight dungeons are in. This is, I think, the most likely outcome that people were expecting. They've hinted towards it. They've kind of already soft confirmed this, and I would still describe this as soft confirmed rather than like hard confirmed, but medium confirmed now for sure. And that is it, except I'm going to just pop open one new Wowhead tab and see if there's anything new as well. Okay, there are 3 new posts. Let's pop those open and see what those are. No raid rotation in Season 4. Season 4 splash screen. So here's the splash screen for Season 4. And Conquer all 3 Dragonflight raids for updated rewards. Does that mean there's no raid rotation? Does that text indicate there's no raid rotation at this time? Possibly. So this is speculation from Wowhead. I think that this line of text could apply even if there is a rotation, though. It certainly was something that people criticized about the Fated, but I wouldn't be surprised. Like, conquer all 3 raids for updated rewards, even if they're on rotation. This line, I think, would still make sense. So I wouldn't read too much into this. I think this is a little bit of hopium, but on the other hand, there's reason to have hope because, Blizzard certainly heard the feedback about the raid rotation being a big point of friction for players. So, but I wouldn't treat this really as changing the likelihood of that too much one way or the other. We have empowered spells expanding beyond evokers to other classes soon. With 10.2.6 available, a tooltip for empowered spell input setting has removed the evoker only descriptor. Could this signal empowered spells are being added to other classes? Potentially. It's possible as well that maybe they're just in the Plunderstorm, which is like class agnostic, and so that would be a reason to do this too. But that could be cool. There are some spells that I think do fit the Empower playstyle, but it's kind of weird because I feel like if you name any spell and are like, yeah, this should become an Empower spell, the people who play that class will be like, no, we don't want that because Empower spells have been clunky. They feel clunky to use. I think a lot of it on Evoker is the fact that you can't cast them while you're hovering, which obviously wouldn't be a thing for other classes, but that to me has given me such a bad vibe for Empower spells this expansion. Just the fact that I know that's my one button that is clunkier than all my other buttons because I can't use it while I'm hovering. Now, again, that wouldn't be an issue for other classes if they got the Empower spells. So there certainly are a lot of candidate spells that could gain cool Empower style play styles. It's just a question of if that is implemented well. So we'll see. We'll see if that is for that or if this is just for Plunderstorm or what. And we have legendary upgrades Datamined. This was, I think, a foregone conclusion, pretty much, was that Nezuro and Firalath would be upgradable in Season 4 because that was how the Sylvanas bow worked back in Shadowlands, was that if you'd gotten it in previous seasons, you could upgrade it in Season 4. And here we have the Scales of Awakening, which let you awaken the power within Firalath and Nezuro, raise the eye level to 502, which is actually only slightly better than Firalath is currently, and allowing it to be upgraded further. I wonder if this just puts it on an upgrade track, right? I wonder if this just makes it upgradable with Lightstones and Crests, or if this means that now you can get, maybe there will be other items that you can get from the higher difficulties that will let you upgrade it to the difficulty eye levels. That would be a little bit weird though, because that was the Sylvanas bow worked that way and had different eye levels and stuff. Actually, did it? I don't even remember if it did, but Nezuro and Firalath never worked that way, right? They've always, even if you got Nezuro or Firalath on LFR, it was always full max eye level. So it'd be interesting if this season they instead went to being hey, you want Mythic eye level Firalath? Go kill Mythic Fireack. That would be, I feel like that would be worse. I feel like that would make the Legendary feel less legendary. I'm not sure though. Obviously wouldn't be a big deal for me. I can kill Mythic Fireack, but a lot of people can't, and I think that would be worse. So, I don't know. What do you think? What do you think about all this? A lot of stuff we've covered in this video. Let me know what you think about all of it in the comments down below, and any posts that come out after this one will be in a future video at some point. I'll try and get something out tomorrow. Still going to have Hero Talent videos coming out as well over the next couple of days, weeks. There's a lot that I haven't yet gotten through, so if you want to check out that content as well, please feel free to do so. It's not been doing as well with the old algorithm, but I still feel kind of obligated to make all of those, so I hope that at least the people who have been watching them have been getting something out of them. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.